The most terrifying exorcism ever faced by Father Gabriele Amorth will leave you breathless. Stay with us until the end to discover how the devil can manifest in the most unexpected ways, testing even the most experienced exorcists. Welcome to this journey into the world of exorcism, guided by the extraordinary figure of Father Gabriele Amorth. Before we dive into this fascinating and unsettling exploration, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you won't miss upcoming insights on topics that challenge our understanding of the spiritual world. Gabriele Amorth, born in 1925 in Modena, was not destined from the start to become the most famous exorcist of our time. His life began like many others: law studies, a secular career on the horizon. But fate, or perhaps providence, had a different path in store for him, a path that would lead him to confront the darkest forces of the universe. The turning point in Amorth's life came when he decided to embrace the priesthood. It was during this journey that he met Father Candido Amontini, the chief exorcist of the Vatican. Under his guidance, Amorth discovered his true calling, fighting evil in its most direct and terrifying forms. But what does it really mean to be an exorcist? It's not simply about reciting prayers and sprinkling holy water. Exorcism is an ancient and complex practice, requiring deep theological knowledge, unwavering faith, and, surprisingly, a significant degree of skepticism. Yes, you heard that right, skepticism. Father Amorth was not a naive demon hunter. Of the approximately 160,000 exorcisms he performed in his long career, only a small percentage involved cases of true demonic possession. Most of the people who sought his help suffered from psychological or medical issues. This statistic reminds us of the importance of approaching these topics with rationality and caution. However, those rare cases of genuine possession were enough to justify the importance of his role. Amorth soon became known as the chief exorcist, an unofficial title but one that reflected the respect and authority he had gained within the Catholic Church. His fame grew to the point where he founded the International Association of Exorcists, an organization that still trains and supports priests around the world in the art of exorcism. But why was there a need for such an organization in the modern world? The answer lies in Amorth's belief that evil had not disappeared from our technologically advanced society. On the contrary, he believed it had adapted, finding new ways to infiltrate our lives. Some of his statements on the matter sparked controversy and debate. For example, Amorth claimed that historical figures like Hitler and Stalin had been possessed by the devil. Such statements may seem excessive, but they invite us to reflect on the nature of evil and how it can manifest through human actions. Even more controversial were his views on seemingly harmless practices like yoga or reading the Harry Potter books. According to Amorth, these activities could open dangerous spiritual doors, exposing people to demonic influences. Whether one agrees with these claims or not, they prompt us to consider our daily choices and their potential spiritual impact carefully. At this point, we invite you to take a short break for reflection. Let us take a moment to recite this prayer together. Lord, protect us from the evil that hides in the folds of our world. Illuminate our path and grant us the wisdom to discern the truth. Amen. If this prayer resonates with your heart, we invite you to comment with the word Amen to join us in a moment of spiritual communion. Father Amorth's impact on the modern perception of exorcism has been profound. After his rise to prominence, there was a significant increase in reported cases of possession, not only in Italy but also in the United States. This phenomenon raises interesting questions. Are we witnessing a true increase in demonic activity or simply a greater awareness and willingness to interpret certain phenomena in a supernatural light? The truth, as often happens, probably lies somewhere in between. It's undeniable that our modern society, with its pressures and contradictions, can generate states of distress that in the past might have been interpreted as possession. At the same time, it would be presumptuous to entirely dismiss the possibility of negative spiritual influences. What emerges clearly from Father Amorth's approach is the importance of balancing faith and reason. His practice teaches us that exorcism should not be seen as a magical solution to all problems but rather as a last resort after all natural explanations have been explored. This leads us to a broader reflection on the role of spirituality in our daily lives. In an era dominated by science and technology, is there still room for mystery? How can we reconcile our faith with modern scientific knowledge? Father Amorth suggests that there is not necessarily a conflict. His life was an example of how one can be deeply devout and at the same time rational and pragmatic. He reminds us that faith does not require the abandonment of critical thinking but rather its refinement. A particularly interesting aspect of Amorth's work was his ability to distinguish between true possession and psychological or medical issues. This teaches us the importance of a holistic approach to health, one that takes into account physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. But now let's talk about the most terrifying case that Father Amorth ever faced. It involved a young woman, whom we will call Maria to protect her identity. Maria was brought to Amorth after several doctors and psychiatrists failed to explain or cure her symptoms. During the exorcism, Maria exhibited superhuman strength, managing to lift adult men with one hand. Her voice changed, shifting from high-pitched tones to unnaturally deep ones. But what truly shocked Father Amorth was when Maria began speaking in ancient languages, including Aramaic, a language she certainly did not know. The exorcism lasted for hours, with Amorth reciting prayers and invoking divine protection, while Maria twisted and screamed blasphemies in different languages. At one point, objects in the room began to move on their own, and a chilling cold enveloped the space despite it being the height of summer. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Maria collapsed, exhausted. When she reopened her eyes, they were back to normal, and the woman remembered nothing of what had happened. Father Amorth, visibly shaken, declared that in all his years of service, he had never encountered such a powerful and terrifying manifestation of evil. This extreme case reminds us that, regardless of our personal beliefs, there are phenomena that challenge our rational understanding of the world. It invites us to keep an open mind and recognize that there may be more than what our eyes can see or our minds can comprehend. Father Gabriele Amorth's life and work leave us with many questions and reflections. They remind us of the importance of being vigilant, not only against external threats but also against the temptations and weaknesses that can open the door to negative influences in our lives. As we approach the conclusion of this journey into the world of exorcism, we invite you to reflect on how these stories and teachings might apply to your daily life. How can we strengthen our faith and protect ourselves and our loved ones from negative influences, whether they are of a spiritual nature or simply human? Remember, the most powerful force against evil, according to Father Amorth, is not a ritual or a magical formula, but a sincere faith and a life lived in harmony with the principles of good and love. Before concluding, we would like to thank you for embarking on this journey with us. If you found this content interesting and enlightening, we invite you once again to subscribe to our YouTube channel. There you will find more insights on spiritual and mysterious topics that challenge our understanding of the world. May today's reflections guide you towards greater awareness and deeper faith. May you find the strength to face life's challenges, always remembering that, as Father Amorth taught us, good ultimately triumphs over evil.